Good evening and welcome to Iraqi Dinar News. Tonight's broadcast carries a story that has the attention of investors, economists, and everyday Iraqis alike. Something remarkable has happened on Iraq's national television, and it could mark the most pivotal step yet toward a long-anticipated financial shift. For the first time in years, government officials have spoken clearly and publicly about rebalancing the national currency. It wasn't a rumor, it wasn't speculation, it was said live, on air, by advisors connected directly to Iraq's central bank and the prime minister's economic team. For those who have followed the dinar's journey, this is a moment that demands attention. Stay with us because over the next few minutes, we'll break down exactly what was said, what it means for Iraq's economy, and why international observers believe this could be the beginning of a historic monetary transition. This isn't just about currency, it's about national pride, economic sovereignty, and Iraq's reemergence on the global stage. The broadcast that set the financial world buzzing took place earlier this week on one of Iraq's leading state-owned television networks. During a segment dedicated to economic development, the host invited a senior government economic advisor to discuss ongoing reforms. Typically, such discussions are broad and cautious, focusing on infrastructure, inflation, or oil revenues. But this time was different. The host asked a direct, pointed question. When will the people of Iraq feel a change in the strength of their currency? The advisor's answer was clear and deliberate. He said the central bank's new strategy will rebalance the value of the national currency to reflect Iraq's true financial position. That statement, simple yet powerful, has set off a wave of analysis and speculation around the world. For investors and analysts, it wasn't just an update. It was a signal, a possible preview of a significant monetary realignment. When an official mentions the term rebalance, the value of the national currency, it's not casual language. It implies that the government believes the current exchange rate no longer represents the economic reality of the country. As of today, the Iraqi dinar remains at a rate that many economists consider artificially low, a remnant of post-war reconstruction policies and years of sanctions. But Iraq's economy has evolved dramatically. It holds over $100 billion in reserves, continues to record high oil exports, and is diversifying into technology, construction, and renewable energy. In short, Iraq's economic foundations are no longer fragile. Therefore, the word rebalance strongly suggests that the central bank may be preparing to adjust the dinar's value upward to a level that mirrors the country's genuine financial strength. This is why the televised discussion has been described by analysts as a turning point. It wasn't whispered through unofficial channels or leaked online. It was stated openly on a government-controlled platform. In the world of economics, that's significant. Public communication precedes public change. Before any nation modifies its currency value, there's always a period of awareness, a phase where citizens are prepared to understand, trust, and support the change. It's about building confidence. You can't surprise an entire population with a new exchange rate overnight. It must be introduced gradually and explained clearly. That's exactly what this televised segment appeared to do. Begin the process of preparing Iraq's citizens for an era of a stronger, more stable dinar. The Central Bank of Iraq, often referred to as the CBI, has been laying the groundwork for major financial reforms for some time. Over recent months, it has implemented a series of structural updates that align Iraq with international standards. Among these are modernized electronic payment systems, expanded digital banking services, and greater transparency in foreign exchange operations. The CBI has also begun integrating with global financial networks such as SWIFT and the Arab Payment Network, systems that enable smoother international transactions. These steps are not arbitrary. They are essential prerequisites for any country preparing to make its currency internationally tradable. It's a sequence you modernize, you stabilize, and then you revalue. And that sequence appears to be unfolding right now in Iraq. One detail that caught financial analysts' attention was the introduction of the new 50 dinar note earlier this year. While that might sound minor, it's actually a symbolic indicator. Nations generally release smaller denominations when they anticipate their currency will gain strength and purchasing power. If the dinar's value rises, smaller notes will naturally become more useful in daily transactions. Economists interpret the 50 dinar note as an early, subtle signal of confidence, a step toward a marketplace where the currency's real value is recognized both domestically and abroad. It's not just paper. It's preparation for what could be a fundamental rebalancing of Iraq's monetary system. Reports from Baghdad suggest that the central bank is planning a press conference in the near future to clarify its new monetary framework. That upcoming event has already drawn attention across financial news outlets and investor circles. It could mark the official beginning of Iraq's public transition into a revalued currency system. What makes this especially notable is how synchronized the messaging has become. For months, we've seen increasing alignment between the statements of government officials, the actions of the central bank, and commentary from international financial observers. The consistency of language stability, modernization, rebalancing indicates that this is not spontaneous. It's a coordinated rollout, and coordination of this scale typically precedes formal policy announcements. Behind closed doors, Iraq has also been engaging with global financial institutions, including international lenders, monetary organizations, and regional banking networks. Meetings with the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and various regional finance ministers have been reported in recent weeks. For the dinar to achieve global recognition, cooperation from such entities is essential. Currency revaluation is not a solitary act. It requires synchronization across multiple financial systems. Recent statements from international officials have praised Iraq's monetary progress, calling it a model for regional stability. That kind of endorsement is not given lightly. It reflects confidence that Iraq is moving in a direction consistent with modern fiscal standards and international expectations. Perhaps the most consequential development, though, is Iraq's ongoing effort to settle certain oil and trade contracts in dinars rather than US dollars. That policy shift, while gradual, is monumental. By encouraging other nations to accept dinars for trade, Iraq is effectively strengthening the currency's legitimacy and reducing its dependence on the dollar. In the broader picture, that's a move toward financial sovereignty, a step that many developing nations aspire to achieve. The more the dinar circulates beyond Iraq's borders, the more stable and self-sustaining its value becomes. Each new trade agreement settled in dinars is another piece of the foundation for the revaluation that appears to be on the horizon. Industry commentators and prominent financial voices in the Iraqi community have been echoing similar sentiments. According to several respected analysts, the central bank's internal testing of new banking systems is complete, and preparations for external or international implementation are now underway. Government-owned television outlets have been gradually introducing topics related to currency, strength, and financial growth. This type of controlled information campaign is designed to guide public perception and prevent panic or confusion. In other words, the government appears to be moving from the technical phase to the communication phase, and that's when the countdown to change often begins. Now, why would Iraq take this step at this specific point in time? The motivation is both economic and symbolic. Iraq's leadership has emphasized its desire to restore national pride, attract foreign investment, and reduce dependence on external currencies. A stronger dinar accomplishes all three objectives. It increases domestic purchasing power, signals stability to international investors, and reinforces Iraq's position as an emerging economic force in the Middle East. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has repeatedly stated that Iraq's goal is to make the dinar a symbol of strength and sovereignty by 2025. When viewed through that lens, the current developments fit seamlessly into the broader strategic timeline. For investors holding dinars, these developments could carry life-changing implications. Even a modest upward adjustment in value could translate into significant returns. However, experts continue to advise caution and patience. Currency revaluation is a complex process that involves not just economics, but diplomacy, compliance, and timing. It cannot and will not happen overnight. Still, the evidence suggests that the framework is nearly complete. The institutions are aligned, the messaging is consistent, and the public communication phase has begun. When such elements converge, the probability of tangible movement increases substantially. Observers are now closely watching three critical indicators in the days ahead. First, the central bank's upcoming press conference, where officials are expected to present a clear outline of the monetary reform strategy. Second, any joint announcements or statements from the IMF and World Bank, which would confirm that the international community supports Iraq's next steps. Third, signs from the commercial banking sector, such as updated exchange rate systems or new currency codes appearing in digital networks. When those elements align, it often signals that a nation's currency transition is imminent. Each piece matters, and together they create a picture that's difficult to ignore. This week's televised discussion has also created ripples beyond Iraq's borders. Financial analysts in neighboring countries have begun to reevaluate their own economic partnerships with Baghdad. A stronger Iraqi dinar would shift regional trade balances and potentially increase Iraq's leverage in OPEC negotiations. It could also draw greater foreign direct investment into Iraqi infrastructure and energy sectors. In that sense, this is not merely a national story, it's a regional one. The revaluation of the dinar, if implemented, could influence markets across the Middle East, creating new opportunities and recalibrating economic alliances. Public confidence remains a critical factor. For any revaluation to succeed, the population must trust the institutions managing it. That's why communication, transparency, and education are at the center of Iraq's current approach. The televised remarks were calm, clear, and deliberate, not dramatic or sensational. The tone suggested authority and reassurance, signaling to viewers that the change, when it comes, will be both measured and beneficial. The government's strategy appears to be focused on steady reassurance rather than surprise, a hallmark of responsible monetary reform. Meanwhile, local Iraqi banks have been strengthening their digital capabilities, expanding mobile banking services, and enhancing connectivity with international platforms. These upgrades are crucial. Once a new exchange rate is introduced, banking systems must handle a surge of transactions efficiently and securely. The CBI's modernization of the financial infrastructure indicates foresight and preparation. Every upgrade, every new protocol, every system test, they all point toward a government getting ready for something larger than day-to-day operations. They point toward transformation. In international markets, attention to Iraq's financial story has grown considerably. Major financial news outlets and analysts have begun including the dinar in their regional currency outlook, something that hasn't happened for years. This renewed visibility underscores how seriously the global community is now taking Iraq's economic resurgence. A decade ago, few would have predicted that Iraq could stabilize its currency to this degree. Yet today, with stronger reserves, improved fiscal management, and growing political stability, the country appears to be rewriting that narrative in real time. For the millions of Iraqis watching these developments, the sentiment is cautiously optimistic. Many remember periods of hyperinflation and instability, so confidence in the dinar carries emotional weight as well as financial importance. The idea that their national currency could finally reflect the nation's true worth is more than an economic goal, it's a point of pride. It represents progress, independence, and a new chapter in Iraq's story. That's why the government's messaging emphasizes national unity, economic sovereignty, and the promise of shared prosperity. As this story develops, experts are urging both local citizens and international investors to remain informed through official channels. The process unfolding in Iraq is intricate and deliberate. It involves coordination across ministries, banks, and international systems. False rumors or speculative rates circulating online can cause unnecessary confusion. The most reliable information will come directly from the central bank's official announcements and verified government statements. When the time comes, the change will be clear, public, and undeniable. To summarize, Iraq's recent national television broadcast marked a milestone. For the first time in years, officials connected to the country's top economic institutions spoke openly about rebalancing the value of the national currency. Combined with the central bank's modernization efforts, international partnerships, and public communication strategy, the message is unmistakable. Iraq is preparing for a major shift. Whether this shift occurs in weeks or months remains to be seen, but the direction is set. The dinar's era of quiet rebuilding appears to be ending, and a new phase of visibility, strength, and confidence is beginning. As always, Iraqi Dinar News will continue to monitor every development, every official announcement, and every sign of progress from the Central Bank of Iraq and the global financial community. Stay with us for verified updates, expert analysis, and clear insights into what could be one of the most significant economic transformations in modern currency history. Until next time, stay informed, stay focused, and remember when officials start speaking publicly, change is never far behind. Thank you for watching.